everyone. My name is Sarah Richardson, and I am a designer. I am a TV host. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a producer, and I'm an author. And I am so honored to be here today with all of you. Thank you for joining me for the first BIA-Hawaii virtual big home building and remodeling show presented by First Hawaiian Bank. Safe to say, I wish I was with all of you in person. I am here in Toronto, Canada, which is a long way away from your glorious islands. And Hawaii holds a special place in my heart, as it does for millions and millions of visitors. But I know for each and every one of you, it is a special place that you call home. And home has become ever more important after all that we have all been through globally in the last year. And that is why I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk to you about my approach to home, my thoughts on home. I'm going to share with you tips and tricks. I'm going to hopefully infuse you with ideas and inspiration, and I'm going to guide you through the process with some inspiring quotes. So without further ado, let's dive in. So a little bit about me. I am a born and bred Canadian, and I tackle different projects all of the time, whether I am writing a book, designing homes for private clients, tackling new television programs for HGTV, or designing products, or working on my YouTube channel. I always have something on the go. So if you're interested in following along with me, you can find me through my social media channel, which is Sarah Richardson Design. That's my Instagram handle. You can find me on YouTube under my name, Sarah Richardson. And you can, if you're looking for more information, more guidance, more tips, more videos, if you're looking for anything at the end of this presentation, you can follow me on my website, which is sarahrichardson.com. So first and foremost, you are here because you are thinking about doing something with your home. Whether you're thinking about changing a light bulb or building a brand new home, I want to talk to you about your personal design style, because that is really and truly what it's all about. In every project that I tackle, whether I am helping someone like you far away or collaborating with my client right here beside me, my whole goal is always to help you find your personal design style. That's what it's all about. And when you think about that, you are trying to express your personal design style in your home. And in thinking about how to create a unique home, you need to think about so many different factors. You think about style, you think about architecture, design, decor. Then you have to think about, what is your style? Are you classic, modern, traditional, transitional, industrial, urban, eclectic, farmhouse, coastal, Scandi, minimal, boho, global nomad, eco-chic, shabby chic, glam, retro, or vintage? Oh my goodness, what a dizzying array of options to consider. But the key is helping you realize what you love, what speaks to you, what resonates with you, and what you want to bring home. Because I want you to remember in all of this, as you explore all of the participants, all of the exhibitors in this wonderful virtual home show, what I want you to remember is this is your opportunity to seek out ideas and information, and then you get to make the ultimate final choice. You get to decide what you want to bring home. And that is the power that you have as a consumer. So bring nothing into your home that you don't absolutely love. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, just in case you're watching this thinking, who is Sarah Richardson? Well, I would say that anybody who's been watching my design journey, which started in 1995, a long, long, long time ago, I am known for my love of all things coastal. So I feel very comfortable talking to all of you today in Hawaii, even though I am so very far away. I love life by the water's edge. I am known for my love of natural materials and a watery palette. And I would say that signature Sarah style is all things blue and green and fresh and crisp and summery and bright and hopefully filled with some streaming sunshine. Now, this is my favorite place in the world, where I get to spend a little bit of time. In Canada, we have a pretty harsh climate, so it's very different from what you all experience. We happen to own a teeny tiny island. And when I say a teeny tiny island, we're talking less than an acre out in the middle of one of the Great Lakes here in Canada. And we only get to enjoy it for the shortest of short windows in the summertime. And I think this quote that I found a number of quotes that I want to share with you today. And this is really important, that there is a magic in that little world, home. It is a mystic circle that surrounds comforts and virtues never known beyond its hallowed limits. And home is so important. So whether I'm speaking to you here from Canada all the way over to where you are in Hawaii, or anybody else who's tuned in from around the globe to join us in this presentation, I want you to be thinking about and be excited about the power and the importance of home. This is our little island getaway. And in terms of how I view island life and coastal life, when you put those two ingredients together, what they equal for me is an atmosphere of casual elegance that is defined truly by livable luxury. And when I think about my design style and how I approach living at home, I don't think about things that are fancy and super luxurious or glamorous. I think more about what the feel of a place is and what the comfort of a home and a space is. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my recipe for design, because truthfully, it's pretty simple. I am truly invested in using natural materials. I love things that are deeply rooted in an honest beauty. I just like to celebrate whether it's a small accessory or a building material. I love to be able to celebrate authenticity for what it is. I'm also a busy working mom of 2 kids. I have a dog. My kids have guinea pigs. So durability and practicality play a huge role in everything I do. And that informs all of my decisions. I want it to look as beautiful in the picture that I'm showing you here as it does years from now. And so having things that are able to stand the test of time are what matter most to me. I want it always to be beautiful, but I also want it to be easy so that you can truly enjoy your home. I'm always inspired by innovation, and I think that when you add up all of these ingredients in my recipe, what it creates is soulful environments for modern living. That is my goal in everything I do. So when I'm not on a teeny tiny island, because right now that island is inaccessible and encased in ice, I spend time on a farm that is located in the countryside in Ontario. And for a couple of months, it looks like this. But right now, just so you all understand, it looks like this. We are under a thick blanket of snow. It's chilly and it's windy. So let's go back to talking about all things that are fabulous and sunny and bright and happy. So I think that this past year has been a real shapeshifter for so many of us. We've been sent to work at home, whether that's a thrilling concept or something that you never anticipated doing and would like to stop immediately. I think that the importance of home has never been greater. And what I've found is that when so often before, our clients would come and go, and home was almost a place that they just passed through briefly at the end of a busy day, maybe spend some time on the weekend, depending on how busy their schedule was. And now suddenly you're looking at every corner of your home, every wall, every surface, every finish, every throw pillow every day. And that makes us really take a much closer look. Right now, home truly is our sanctuary. And I think this quote by Maya Angelou is very fitting. The ache for home is in all of us, the place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. And right now, we may be there because it's not exactly our choice. But I think when we all get to return to something that feels so much more normal, hopefully what we will all share together is an appreciation for home and a commitment to make it the best it can possibly be. And I know that is why you are here today. So, what's important that you should be thinking about when you're tackling any project at home, whether it's big or small? You need to perfect what your own personal recipe is. And what does that mean? What does that look like to you? What is the color palette you like? I recently launched a new furniture collection, which I'm very sad is not available in Hawaii. So I won't get into detail about that. But somebody made a comment on my social media saying, is there anything that doesn't have blue in it? And I said, why, of course, more than half the collection isn't blue. But admittedly, blue is my favorite in all forms and all shades. So when you're embarking on tackling the big project of your own home, I want you to think about what your signature colors are and what should be in your recipe and what should not be in your recipe. And I have to tell you a funny story, which is that when I start any new collaboration project, let's say for a product collection, one of the first things I have to disclose is I don't like brown. Brown is not my color. Blue is my color. I try to limit my use of brown, but I'm always game for blue. So I want you to think about what you would put in your recipe. A legendary designer, French, very extremely stylish, very talented woman, Andre Putman, said, for a house to be successful, the objects in it must communicate with one another, respond, and balance one another. Now, this sounds like such a lofty quote and something so high arching, but really it can be extremely simple. It's about curating a collection of objects that work for you, that speak to you, and that really allow you to express yourself. I hope you're getting a theme here. That is, I care about helping you find who you are in design. And I think the opportunity to discover what resonates with you and for you has never been greater, because there is a vast array of resources out there, whether it's in the exhibitors that are participating in this fabulous virtual home show, or if it's in all the social media resources that you can look at every day. If you think about Instagram and you think about Pinterest and you think about all the online shopping, frankly, what it all amounts to is there is a tyranny of choice. And sometimes it's hard to narrow those choices down. So I want you to be able to feel empowered that you can get to know what your look is. And you can look at something and say, oh, swoon, I love that. Or no thanks, pass, that's not for me. The ultimate goal of anything for everyone that I always have is I want you to live in style and I want you to love your home. And I think that means choosing elements, choosing to fill your home, choosing to feather your nest with the elements that speak to you personally. Don't choose it because somebody said it was trendy or it was in, and don't shy away for it because somebody told you it was out. If it speaks to you, if you love it and it's going to make you happy, then that is the goal in loving your home. It's really important to know what you want to live with. Over many, many years, I have to say, I know the answer for me. I don't need it to be fancy, as I mentioned to you before. I do need it to be comfortable. When I walk in the door at the end of a long day, I want that feeling that my shoulders are going to drop. I'm going to take a big, deep breath, and I am going to be so happy to be home. I want comfort. I want softness. And as I say, I love it to be light and bright and fresh. So for me, this living room is a pretty good expression of what I like. It's uncluttered. The slip covers are all washable. It's hard wearing, durable materials, floor coverings that are easy to vacuum. It's no muss, it's no fuss. Yes, there's a lot of white paint. Yes, it has a little bit more of a contemporary flair to it, but still, in anything I do, it has a little hint of softness just to make it feel that everybody is well represented. So many of the projects I do, I am dealing with two great forces. Generally speaking, on so many of my projects, there's a masculine and a feminine aspect. Both voices need to be heard and considered, and both of them need to come together to make sure that the end result is neither too heavily weighted in one direction or the other. That is really what we're trying to achieve in every successful home project. Now, I think, it's interesting to think about how trends have changed, how style has changed, and how things evolve over time. And interestingly, this is a kitchen that I designed for one of my TV shows, Sarah's House, in 2010, so 11 years ago. And I recently posted a picture of this kitchen on my Instagram account, and it received so much love, so many hearts, and it made me smile because it really made me think about this quote: be faithful to your own taste, because nothing you really like is ever out of style. And that's from Billy Baldwin, who was a famous American designer in the early to mid part of the 1900s. And so don't feel that as everything sways to a more contemporary vision, if you're a traditionalist at heart, that is okay. I'm here to tell you that is good. Do not erase who you are and what you love just to try and follow a trend. In design, we always have to keep evolving. We need to offer new solutions and new opportunities each and every day, and we have to explore new design avenues. And it's always funny for me, because sometimes people say, oh, I wish you did, more white kitchens, or I wish you would do another room on TV like that other room you did. But once I've done it once, I can't do it again. And so our job as designers is to always keep evolving and never stop and presenting you, do you like this idea? Do you like this fresh idea? New ideas all the time. But the key for you is to remind yourself that you have to be faithful to your own taste. And I think one of the things I've learned over so many years is that the things I loved at the beginning of my career are so often the things that I love now. And you should take a moment and take a pause and think about, are there things that you love today that you loved 20 years ago? Because if you're thinking about embarking on a big project and an expensive project, something like building a home or renovating a kitchen or renovating a bathroom or tackling a big redecoration project or improving your outdoor space, I want you to have conviction and strength in knowing what you like. And there is nothing wrong with liking the same things 20 years ago as you like now. And I can almost guarantee that if you make decisions and selections that are guided by that principle, I don't think you will live to regret it. I think you will feel like you followed your own personal design vision. I think that right now we see a lot of white, and my truth be told, if you ask my husband, he would probably tell you that my favorite color is white, and I'm not sure that he would be wrong. But I want you to feel empowered that you can and you should live in color, or as I would say, at the very least, accent with it. So on the far right top, that's my dining room. Just to the left of it is my den. No matter how much I embrace all things white, cream, ivory, alabaster, oyster, and every other shade of white out there, I am always somebody who also thrives on color and personality and pattern and impact and wow. And I want you to think about the impact that has in your home. Also, because you live in an environment that gets so much more sunshine and you have such bright light that your environment can also handle a bit of a higher color quotient. Oh, I went the wrong way. I'm sorry. The key is, I hope that you will never lose sight of what your goal is. And I'd like you to think about decorating for happy. I want you to decorate for happy. I want you to fill your home with the vision and the goal that what you are doing is creating a landscape where happy times will happen. And rooms like this make me smile. I think that you should never take yourself too seriously. Hopefully, at the end of this presentation, you will get to know me a little bit and understand who I am as a designer. And I am somebody who is passionate about my craft. I am always on the journey to learn. I look forward to poking around and checking out the exhibitors at this wonderful home show to see what I could learn and what I can be inspired by. I always am eager to try new things. I love color. I love pattern. I love fun. I love wow. And I like a room that when you walk into it, it feels like it's smiling at you. And that's the way I feel about this room, which, as you notice, has a lot of white and cream, but yet your impression of this room when you walk into it is you see the color, right? You see the punch of the fun and the pop of the artwork and the pillows and the accessories. And that is how you can define a room that is generally executed in timeless light colors, but yet has some fun, some personality, some playful wow factor. Here's a great way to think about a room. Charlotte Moss, an American designer who I'm sure many of you have heard of, says an empty room is a story waiting to happen, and you are the author. So think that way about whatever the next project is that you are thinking about tackling. Because as designers, honestly, this is how we think about rooms. If we walk into a home that a client has just bought or an empty room, we don't think about what it is right now. We think we turn on our imagination jets, and we think, where could we go with this room? What could this room become? And what does this room want to be? I am not good with earphones, and they like to fall out. And really, we play these imaginary games. I show you this picture because this was a room that was created from nothing. This is a house we built from the ground up for our television series, Sarah Off the Grid. And what it became was a gathering space, a family space, an entertaining space, a refuge, a place for laughter and fun and movie nights and competitive pool games. It now has a pinball table. And that is a story that was written based on the elements that we chose to introduce into the space. If you don't bring it in, it will never happen. So if you want something to happen, you need to write that into your story. If you want a place that people are going to sit and play cards, you need to buy a table that is designed for people to play cards at. If you want people to be comfortable, you need to buy that deep, loungy sofa. I want you to remember that you can turn with what you are about to embark on, with your decorating, with your renovation, any blank slate can become the most beautiful painted canvas. And I show you these two pictures because these came from a showroom that I designed for my furniture collection that had concrete floors and bare walls. And within these spaces, we created settings filled with pattern, light, color, personality, artwork, whimsy, texture, and fun. So whatever space you're tackling, whether it's big or small, and no matter how bland it is, I want you to think as you travel through these exhibits that you have a fabulous paintbrush and you are going to use it to create the most beautiful canvas ever. We've all heard of Steve Jobs. We probably have devices that we can't live without as a result. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. And that is what I am about in the world of design each and every day. It's not just about how it looks. It's about how it feels. It's about how it works. And you should always make sure that you place a really high priority in thinking about function, in thinking about practicality, and thinking about livability in all the choices you make. So I've been talking about renovations, I've been talking about kitchens and bathrooms, and now I want to dive in, and I'm going to try as quickly as possible to show you a bunch of different ideas. And we're going to talk about everything from more traditional to more contemporary. What we need to talk about is what your goals and priorities are. So are you looking for, there's a trade-off to be made between fashion and investment, in following trends versus doing something timeless, in jumping out and splashing out and exploring daring design versus focusing on your return on investment. And I want you to know, if you're thinking right now, oh my gosh, Sarah, this is suddenly feeling like a really difficult college course. There will not be an exam at the end of this, but these are the things I have to think about every single day in every single project I tackle. And it's a lot to balance. So it's a lot to think about. And if your mind is overflowing right now because of the projects you're trying to tackle, I feel for you and I'm here to support you. So let's try and get away from this slide that we're looking at as quickly as possible, because this is what inspires me about what I do. Everything I do and everything you're thinking about doing is about turning your before into an after. That is the goal. That's why we do what we do. So I'm going to show you a quick before, and these are the afters. Same spaces, before and after. Hopefully, I didn't just lose you. Hopefully I've got you thinking, yes, let's do this. Let's talk about design and let's dive in. Okay, let's talk about how I view the renovation process. Most important to me is that I always want to celebrate the thrill of the challenge. And every space has, realistically, yes, if we are building a house from the ground up and money is no object and it's fabulous and huge, then the challenges are more limited. But let's be honest, real people like you, like me, we have budgets, we have space constraints, we might be living in a multi-generational home, we might be tackling this, whether it's your first home, your last home, or your in-between home. Please understand that I know there are always challenges, and that is part of what I do every single day. I want you to embrace that challenge. So this is a kitchen that had a small space layout. It could not grow. It needed to perform a lot of functions for a family that needed to be a gathering space. And I look at every kitchen renovation as a puzzle. And if you want to get more information at the end of this presentation, I would really encourage you to hop on over to YouTube and visit my channel, because there are tons of videos there where I really go into depth and I explain how I think about every step of the process. So you may want to join me on that journey. If you don't, I will not be upset. But this is a kitchen where we tried to balance the budget, stay within the wall space that we were allotted, get it done in a quick period of time using in-stock and available materials. And did I say also make it durable, family-friendly, adaptable throughout all different seasons, contemporary, but not too contemporary. The list was long. So this is always about the thrill of the challenge and managing everything and combining it together. Sometimes we are renovating a home and we can rethink and reimagine. This is a historic home I bought, and I knocked out walls in 3 rooms. I took a kitchen, a living room, and a dining room, knocked out all the walls, and I created one kitchen, dining, open concept living space that was all combined into one. And that was the big goal and the big picture. And here, Winston Churchill. Oh, good advice. It never goes out of style, or prescient quotes, I should say. We shape our homes, and then our homes shape us. So, what I want you to think about here is how you design your kitchen, and the functions you introduce into your kitchen will ultimately define how your kitchen gets used. So for me, you'll see there's a number of key elements here that sort of define every kitchen renovation. I love, to the right, you can just see there's a soft seating area. That's important. I love a gathering space in a kitchen. There is breakfast bar seating. There's room for 4 here at this island, and the stools actually wrap right around the island so that you could even use this for casual dining, and it seems more like you're able to talk to and see each other instead of all sitting in a row at a kitchen island all lined up together. There is plenty of storage, because that is so important. Storage, storage, storage. It feels like we can never get enough of it. And there's also practicality, because this is an open concept space. The cabinets that you can see behind this quote actually hide the mess of the kitchen just behind it. So a lot of different features, a lot of different functions. When I'm designing, I always think about where I am. These are 2 very different kitchens. The kitchen on the left is my kitchen here in the city, and the kitchen on the right is my kitchen on the island. And you may look at those and think, oh, wow, I wouldn't expect one person to have kitchens that look so different. What I want you to think about is how you can design for the architecture of your home, the location of where your home is. What do you look out on? What are you seeing and being inspired by? And the environment that you want to create. And that's what I always think of. On the left, I live in a mid-century home that is more fitting of contemporary style. And the right, it's a cottage, and it's casual and comfy, and it's about indoor, outdoor living. And that, for me, is the defining feature of knowing what works where. Something that's super important to me, I don't want you to ever fear the B word. And the B word is budget. Budget is not a dirty word, and it's something you should always feel empowered to talk about. If you don't talk about it, there are going to be problems. I can guarantee that. And I'm showing you this because this is a kitchen that I renovated during the pandemic, literally during the height of the pandemic when everything was closed. And I used in-stock cabinetry that came from IKEA that I was able to order online, ordered stools that came from an online distributor, light fixtures. We made our own sconces. I mean, you name it. This home had a high degree of big box builder chic. And when you are renovating a home during a pandemic, I would say that for me, it became not what do I want, but what can I get? And I hope that that doesn't happen to you. And I think those days are hopefully behind us. But I share this because there was a high level of budget that was extremely important at every step of the way with this project. And I want to tell you that no matter how much or how little you have to spend, I don't ever want you to be afraid to talk about your budget. You have to. If you're thinking about this is a big project and you're going to make a big investment, I want you to do 4 things for me. I want you to dream. I want you to design. I want you to plan it out. And then I want you to repeat that. And I want you to do it all over again. And if it sounds like I'm telling you that you need to agonize over every decision, that is absolutely correct. Because if you do that, you will not regret it. And the number one thing you don't want to do if you're renovating is regret. I had a friend who used to say that impatience was the mortal enemy of good design. And to some degree, I would say that's true. I think when we rush, we may make mistakes. And when we pause and think and plan, that is when we are charged for success. And what I want for you is success. I also want you to dare to be you. I want you to follow your dreams and your ideas. And if this is a home that you are in for the long haul, I want you to make choices that really speak to you and that allow you to express that personal style that I'm telling you you need to channel. I had the opportunity to check out some of the websites of the fabulous retailers that you have on the island, and I smiled because I found these exact stools that are in this kitchen that I designed for a home show that was not virtual. I ordered them online, and I saw that CS Woe and Sons has this same collection of furniture on their website. So that made me smile, thinking, oh, maybe I have done a slightly Hawaii kitchen. This is a kitchen designed with shutter style doors. It has 2 different colors. It's gray mixed with a pale, pale, pale pink. As I say, it was done for a home show. So it was done to be daring and push the boundaries of design. But if you're fearless, be fearless with your choices. This is really about creating what works for you. Here's the key thing. You're always going to encounter challenges and issues. I'm sharing this with you only because it was kind of a funny one. When designing this kitchen, I wanted to have an island that was over 12 feet long, and that was made. And then, of course, the stone fabricator said to me, Sarah, you do remember that slabs of stone don't come that big. And so I said, no problem. We are using 2 different materials in this kitchen, one for the island countertops. Caesar stone is what we were using, and it's a fabulous, any quartz countertop surface is always so well suited. And we were using one color for the island and one color for the perimeter. So I decided to create a kitchen island that had a racing stripe down the center of it. It wasn't what I had originally imagined when I was designing the kitchen, but it was absolutely what I decided I wanted to do. And I don't regret it for a second, because it's that exploration and that adventure that creates fantastic results. I want you also to think about the fact that when you're renovating or redecorating, it doesn't have to be all new. Think about how you can take those treasured pieces you have, integrate old with now, and make it all feel new. So whether that's combining one part traditional with one part contemporary, or whether that's taking your traditional elements like the chairs you see on the picture on the right and giving them a new lease on life with a fresh coat of paint. This is all up to you to think about what your recipe is in terms of your mix for what is old and what is new. When we come to the end of talking about kitchen renovations, what I want you to remember, this is a pretty good quote, I would say. If you think good design is expensive, you should look at the cost of bad design. And so I'm being kind of cheeky and making a joke here, but it's really important to keep focused every step of the way to make sure you're making the right choices, that you are working with the right suppliers, and that you are getting the quality product that you want, because that is what your home deserves. I think the key is to remember, we're going to talk about bathrooms quickly, and I don't want to keep you for too long, and I appreciate all the time you've given me today, is that when you are in the process of renovating or redecorating, it gets messy, it gets dirty, it gets ugly, and you may want to think, is this ever going to end? And I'm going to share some images of bathrooms to show you that there always is a calm after the storm. And yes, it always is worth it. So these 2 photos come from the same home as those very dramatic before shots that I showed you before. And it's to show you that you can achieve winning results. When you're working with an existing envelope of an older home, you can update, you can refresh, you can renew. When I think about bathroom renovations, I always want you to, I'm gonna ask you to aim for forever when you're making your choices. Ask yourself, do I love it for today, or do I love it for forever, because everything that goes into either a kitchen or a bathroom, it's installed. So the vanity is there to stay. The stone counter is fixed in place. The plumbing requires the faucets and all the plumbing fixtures. They require a specialist to install them. The light fixtures are hardwired into the walls or the ceiling. So those are the things that really matter. Those are the choices you have to get right. Then there's the little things that you can play with, the accessories, the paint color. That's something you can change. But in the big things that matter, I want you to think about aiming for forever. And in everything you look at, if you're thinking, ooh, that's a fancy, fun, wild, fabulous, trendy new faucet design, and sitting right beside it is something that's more tried and tested and true, something that's more classic. I want you to look at it and ask yourself, do I love it today, or will I love it in 20 years? I also want you to think that while lots of elements in every renovation may need to be custom, there's so much you can do with in-stock elements that can truly make magic. And so I let me loose in the aisles of any hardware store, big box. I truly authentically love the thrill of a challenge and creating the best results I possibly can. It's about taking inexpensive in-stock tile and installing it in innovative new ways to create a striped effect, or adding a little bit of wallpaper to introduce some color against the most inexpensive wall-hung white vanity made of in-stock cabinetry you could possibly create. I always want you to think about how you play up your features. If you're designing something custom, in a situation like this, we had a sloped ceiling, and instead of dropping the cabinetry below that sloped ceiling, I love to embrace it. I want to play it up. I want to make all those unique things in your home, I want to make them become a feature. Most importantly, in every project I do, I want to experiment, I want to enjoy it, and I want the end result to be wow factor worthy. And that for you, that doesn't mean that you have to push the boundaries too far outside your comfort zone. But what it does mean is I want you to think about how a bit of pattern or a bit of color or a bit of innovation can go a long way to truly make your space feel uniquely you. At the end of the day, it really just has to be you. I want you to be you. And I show you these two pictures because they are vastly different. And these are two different, everything I've shown you is something that I have designed and renovated. And I hope you're looking at it thinking, wow, so much of that is different. On the left, we have traditional. On the right, we have something inspired a little bit more by industrial and contemporary influences. And that is all about who the client is and what the client wants. So you are the client, be you, do you, and make it work for how you want to live. At the end of it all, I truthfully just want you to make the most of what you've got and whatever you start with. And it's funny that I think I'm gonna end off this presentation with me doing laundry in a basement. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this was a home I was renovating, and this was it was a house that was built in the 1800s, and it had this rubbly stone foundation. And to me, it had texture. This speaks to those honest, natural materials that I was talking about before. And I said, I want to embrace this. I want to have fun with it. This is what we started with. And this is the story. If I'm going to be the author of this story, the story I want to write about this room is I want it to remember where it started, where it came from, and how it could feel. So I don't want to try and erase what I'm working with. I always want to take it and I want to celebrate it. And really, in sharing this presentation with you, my goal has been to inspire you and hopefully give you some ideas and insights that will help you tackle your next project, whether it be big or small. And I want to thank you for joining me, for taking part in the first ever BIA Hawaii virtual home building and remodeling show presented by our sponsor. And without them, this would not have been possible. So thank you to First Hawaiian Bank. I'd love to encourage you to visit the exhibits at your leisure. You can check in, you can ask questions, you can tour around, you can talk to those sponsors and the exhibitors and all of the booths during the show hours, and you can even visit them after hours, which is fun. And this event's going to be available all weekend, and there's an incredible lineup of seminars for you, designed just for you. And so I just want to say mahalo. Thank you for joining us, and make sure, I want to say thank you to the sponsors. It's really, really important, because it's a hard time to be doing this, and without them, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be here with you. I hope next time I can be with you in person. And if you miss anything, just remember, all of this is available on demand after the seminar sessions are over, and it's going to be in the reference library through till the end of May. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Nice to meet you all. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the show.